I never thought moving into a quiet, suburban neighborhood would turn into a nightmare. When my wife and I first bought our little house, it felt like paradise. A nice yard, a small garden I tended every morning, and the sound of birds instead of traffic. The place was everything we dreamed of after years of apartment living. At first, the neighbors were polite. A wave here, a smile there. But it didn't take long before we met the real power of the street. Karen. She wasn't just any. Karen, she was on the HOA board, and according to her, she practically was the HOA. Every new family got the same introduction. Her knocking on the door with a list of rules she claimed were the law, even though half of them weren't written anywhere. At first, I thought it was just her way of being strict, but soon it became clear. Karen wasn't protecting the neighborhood. She was controlling it. My yard sat at a lower level compared to hers. During heavy rain, water naturally flowed downhill into the drainage system near the edge of my property. I had installed a proper drain line that carried the water away without flooding anyone. It was completely legal, inspected, and signed off by the city. But Karen didn't like it. One morning, she stormed over to my yard. "Your drain," she said, pointing like it was some kind of crime scene. "It's unsightly. It makes the neighborhood look unkempt." I raised an eyebrow. Unkempt? It was a buried pipe with a simple grate on top. "Karen, the city approved this. It's necessary. Without it, my yard would flood every time it rains." She crossed her arms. "Well, I'm on the HOA board, and we don't approve. You'll need to remove it." I laughed, thinking she was joking. "Sorry, Karen. The city trumps the HOA. The drain stays." Her face tightened. She didn't like being told no. That was the first time I saw that dangerous glint in her eye, the one that said she wouldn't stop until she got her way. At first, it was little things. A note taped to my door about unsightly weeds that didn't exist. A letter about noise complaints when my wife and I were out of town. Even a citation about my garbage can being visible from the street, though hers always sat in plain view. But then I noticed something worse. The drain itself started acting strange. After a small rain, water pooled in my yard instead of flowing through like usual. I dug it up and found mud stuffed inside. Not natural mud. This was packed, like someone shoved it there on purpose. I knew exactly who. I confronted Karen the next morning. "Did you block my drain?" I asked, flat out. She gasped in mock innocence. "Why would I ever do such a thing?" Her smile didn't reach her eyes. "Maybe your little contraption just isn't as useful as you think." I clenched my fists, but said nothing. There was no proof. A week later, the storm came. Not just a drizzles, was one of those heavy, brown-skied downpours that make the streets look like rivers. I checked my drain as the rain started. At first, it worked fine. But halfway through the storm, I noticed water rising fast in my yard. I ran outside in my raincoat, boots sinking into the mud. The drain was completely blocked again, but this time, not with mud. Someone had wedged a cement block over it. My stomach dropped. By the time I pulled it free, water had already spread across my yard, rushing toward my back porch. My wife shouted from inside, trying to move things to higher ground. I worked like crazy, digging channels, clearing debris, anything to keep the water from entering the house. And just when I thought it couldn't get worse, I heard it, Karen's voice, laughing. She was standing at the edge of her yard, umbrella in hand, smirking as she watched me struggle. "Maybe you should have listened to the HOA rules," she yelled over the rain. I wanted to scream at her, but the storm drowned out everything. My focus stayed on saving my home. By the time the rain ended, my yard looked like a swamp. Furniture was soaked. The garden I loved, gone. I wasn't going to let this slide. I filed a police report, but without a camera or physical proof, nothing stuck. The HOA dismissed my complaints as personal disputes. That's when I decided to install cameras. Discreet, weatherproof, covering the yard and especially the drain area. It didn't take long. 2 nights later, while the neighborhood slept, The cameras caught Karen creeping into my yard with a flashlight. She crouched down, stuffing debris and rocks into the drain again. Clear as day. The footage was gold. But instead of running straight to the cops, I had a better idea. A month later, another storm warning came. The kind that made the news, with alerts scrolling across the TV. I checked my cameras, my yard, everything. Sure enough, hours before the rain began, Karen showed up. This time, she didn't just block the drain, she sealed it with boards, nails, and a plastic sheet. But she didn't realize something important. Water doesn't just disappear. When it can't go down, it finds another path. And since my yard was already low, her house sat just slightly downhill from one side. That night, the storm unleashed hell. Rain poured in sheets. Thunder shook the windows, and the cameras recorded everything. My yard filled again, but instead of spreading into my house, I had pre-dug trenches redirecting the overflow. The water built higher and higher until it spilled over into Karen's yard. At first, I didn't believe my eyes. The cameras showed her backyard turning into a pool. Then the water pushed against her porch, seeping under her doors. Within an hour, her lights flickered out. She ran outside, screaming, waving her arms. But it was useless. The very water she tried to drown me with was now drowning her home. The next morning, the storm cleared. My house. Muddy, messy, but intact. Hers. A disaster zone. Water lines stained her siding. Furniture floated in her living room. Her smug expression was gone, replaced with rage. She stormed over to my property, dripping wet, face twisted. "This is your fault," she screamed. "You did this to me." I didn't flinch. I pulled out my phone, played the footage of her blocking my drain. Her face turned pale. "Maybe," I said, "the HOA should see this. Or better yet, the city." She lunged at me, trying to grab the phone, but I stepped back. My wife came out, holding another copy on a USB. Karen froze. Her power was gone. In the end, the city fined her for property damage and trespassing. The HOA tried to back her, but when the footage went public, even they distanced themselves. She lost her position on the board. As for me, my yard took time to repair. But every time I plant a new flower, I remember the look on her face when the water turned on her. Poetic justice, delivered by nature itself.